make something clear. Beer does not matter to me. And I guess what I'm really trying to say is that, when you put effort towards life, you'll find that it's much more rewarding and beneficial than beer ever will be. I'm not saying that you have to completely avoid it. I understand the function of beer. I get it. I've enjoyed it. I've also over-enjoyed it and had it ruin good parts of myself that I didn't want to be ruined, like relationships that I have in my life. And that's the hard thing. It's I know the reaction of a lot of people are going to think I'm this or that, and that they have to conform to some sort of way that's not true. You don't have to change who you are at all, except you do, actually. And I think the hard part about it for a lot of these people is that to make that change, it's going to take an effort that pretty much is not worth it. Or at least it seems that way. Which really, it's not worth it at all to continue down that path, and it's very much worth it to get through that pain. And you must embrace that pain, or you're never going to get to the other side of that coal pit. If you never walk through that fire, you're never going to get to the other side. Some people are just content with not ever, stopping enjoying their life, because as soon as you keep trying to enjoy your life in that way, you start to not enjoy your life. See, like right now, I'm enjoying my life, even though I don't really have a whole lot going for me. I kind of do, actually. This was a really good day. I got paid today, I got a job done, and I had a really good track workout that I haven't done in a really long time, and the results actually were a lot better than I thought they were going to be. I wish they'd have been a little bit better. If I'd made better decisions in my life, they'd be significantly better. Except, for the circumstances that I'm in, they're actually a lot better than I anticipated. I'm definitely going to take that. I zoom out in the big picture, maybe it's not so great. I could be so much faster. But that being said, I'm not sharpening the spear too sharp, and I'm making pretty decent leaps and bounds, not too much, not too little. Making pretty good concerted efforts. I'm gaining some ground. I'm taking my time. I'm only 26 years old. I could peak physically around this time, but it's not to say that I can't keep improving, into my 30s. There's no reason I can't. Get a couple good years of me, I could certainly PR. There's no doubt in my mind I could, especially if I stay on a good path. And I think if I do that too, a lot of those people that failed our relationship, they're going to notice that it wasn't really me who failed the relationship, it was them. I chose to stay away from these people because it would affect them negatively, and I didn't want that for them. But B, they were actually, shittier about it than I was. And that's bold to say. Because the thing is I'm out here trying to help people. I'm doing my best for other people. They don't care about my results. They see that I'm having not great results, and they just think I'm useless. when in reality, I'm a perfectly good opportunity for them to nourish something else and gain so much more out of themselves than they ever would otherwise, but they completely ignore it. They don't realize what they have in me. You know? Do I get upset about that? Yeah, I do. But I don't let it, really. You know? And I think sometimes not letting it does kind of, you know, I inadvertently kind of cause more pain on myself if I hold on to the past. And, you know, something that I learned recently, very recent, earlier today, within the hour, it was a video about Taoism, and specifically for people who are heartbroken or have been through bad relationships. There's sort of a saying, I kind of forged my own quote about it. My version of it is, it's not so much that I'm trying to live as I once was. It's more so that I'm trying to live as I could be. You know? And it's like, a lot of those things in the past were actually correct. It's just that now they're attached to negative memories. So how do you go about salvaging these good things that were sort of ruined by things that ended up being negative experiences overall, like bad relationships? Fortunately, a lot of the memories that you make, you know, you bring good things to the table generally, and then if things don't work out, you know, you have a tendency to just forget about those things, which isn't necessarily healthy. But it's also extremely unhealthy to try to live in that past. And so it's a difficult thing to try to differentiate between the two and, you know, live your life when you're surrounded by all these memories. Every time you drive past a place, you can't help but think about, you know, the good times you had and maybe the bad times as well. I'm really glad that I found that found me, actually, I should say. You know, I honestly do regret a lot of the things that I've done, but I don't really hold that in the sense that it's a negative thing. I at least accept it, you know? I'm able to get over that pain quicker, I think. You know, I wish I had made different decisions in the past, but hindsight's always 20/20, you know? And maybe I'm drying it out by talking about it, but I think it needs to be said at some point to get over completely some certain relationships that I've had in the past. And it's probably better to just conglomerate them together into a big flower. Dang, look at that car right there. Huh. I wonder what kind of car that was. It kind of reminded me of a Galaxy. The car that Shannon Hoon had, the singer of Blind Melon. And they got that song called Galaxy, and that's what it's about. His vehicle, it was like his escape from the world. I've totally loved that because my vehicle is my escape from the world as well. I completely understand that song. You know, driving around aimlessly, somewhat, cottywomple. It's one of my favorite words. You know, just going, but with no particular destination. state of constant cottywomple. I think that's kind of the best way to explain my life. I don't really have like a religion or a way about all things, and I think that kind of unattracts me from a lot of people, both from my perspective but also from their perspective more often than not, because you have to be, have a good relationship with Jesus, or you have to have a relationship with God and with this and that, and I don't think that that's entirely necessary, and I think that that's a pretty controversial perspective to have. I just find it so much more freeing and so much more nourishing. It's not richer, I'll tell you that much, but I think the reason for that is because most people are that way, and I'm not trying to sway people from it. I'm just trying to get people to see the reality. Maybe they don't realize that they're just following the crowd, and they don't really believe in that thing. They just feel like, they have to believe it, otherwise most of these people are going to think they're, stupid or weird or whatever it is, when in reality that's kind of bullshit, People shouldn't think that way. It's just that most people think that way that causes most people to think that way, I'm not entirely, putting it down, because I think there is a lot of good that comes from that. I've always kind of had that perspective of it. It's not something I really like to talk down on. I just feel like it's really important for there to be people that have that perspective, Maybe that's not for everybody. Maybe, they're just going to prove me right, that they'll get bitter about it, and, so be it. Hopefully we can make a positive out of it rather than, a negative. So it seems to be most often. Not always. There's some people that have pretty good understanding and acceptance of it, and I'm just always open to learning and experiencing new stuff, like picking my boogers and learning new things. I don't know, just living my life without being judged so much. This is why I like spending so much time alone, because I really am better off by myself. Here's a good example of what I'm kind of talking about. Is there's this old coworker that I had. He's also starting a painting company, and I'm not going to name names, but I've sort of tried to help him with what he's doing, and he just doesn't really want me to help him. And I get that, because I'm starting my own painting company, and I don't want people to help me. I've been trying to hang out with him though, because I did a painting for him and he won't take it. I don't know what the deal is about that. I'll take it for myself then if he doesn't want to accept it, even though it was his idea and he asked me to do it for him, and I was totally about it, so I did it, and I was going to give it to him for free because I like the idea so much, which is very rare, by the way. There's not a lot of paintings that get commissioned to me where I don't like to get a little dough, because it wasn't really my idea, and it's not necessarily fully integrity with everything else that I'm doing. See how that sentence kind of doesn't make sense? That's kind of how it feels to do a commission for somebody else. It's like, it doesn't really have cohesiveness with everything else that I'm doing. Not in the way that I would like it to be. And I guess that is kind of spiritual growth. I've had to kind of let go of some paintings recently that were tried to be commissioned to me. One of a girl who recently OD'd. I didn't really know who she was, and I I didn't feel comfortable doing that. You know, I wanted to have one of her closer friends to do it, because I feel like that would be much more honorable. I feel like if I did it, it wouldn't really make much sense. You know? And so, unfortunately, I had to turn it down, and it sucked because I have a heart. You know, I get it. But I just didn't feel like that was something that I should be doing. You know, I had to be honest about it instead of try to fake loving this thing, and, you know, that's just how it is. I'd rather tell you the honest truth rather than try to fake love through it. You know what I mean? But circling back to what I was originally saying is I had this coworker also starting a painting company. I wanted to pick his brain. Honestly, I just wanted to see, like, hey, like, how did you go about this? Like, how did you go about that? And, like, hey, I got some ideas too. I'm certainly open to helping you and giving you some pointers, and I definitely have a lot of things I'm sure I could help him with. And, you know, he's a little bit farther along with his, so I just kind of wanted to see how he was doing his thing, and I was going to show him how I'm doing my thing, and then we can both grow. You know, it's iron sharpening iron. Except, you know, I feel like he's probably not taking it that way. I feel like he's taking it as I'm trying to, like, get something out of him, which I guess I am, but I'm also trying to give back to him as well. And so I'm just going to let go of that. You know, I don't need him. He doesn't need me, and I don't need him. And if this is how it's going to be, if he's going to continuously just ignore me, not even have the balls to actually, like, say, hey, I can't do this, or I don't really need your help, or, you know, just be honest. You know? I mean, integrity is something that I would like to keep with my company, and I just don't think that he's having very much integrity with me, and I'd rather just let that go and not let it fester in what I'm trying to do. And honestly, I feel like it's going to be more rewarding if I figure these things out for myself, you know, because down the road, you know, somebody might say, hey, like, you started a painting company, like, you did all that yourself? And yeah, I did everything myself. Nobody told me how to do any of this stuff. I just figured it out by myself. That's going to be a lot more rewarding than anybody else telling me what to do. You know, I've had a few painting companies that, you know, I learned a lot. I owe them a little bit, for sure, but they also kind of owe me because of all the work that I did that I didn't really get paid that much for. So there's always that kind of lingering. But deep down inside, I'm not going to just totally slam the door shut. I'm not doing that. I really genuinely am appreciative of these companies and these owners and the coworkers that I, you know, got to experience all these things with and learn and grow with, and develop my skills and develop my knowledge, and also help develop other people's knowledge as well. And, you know, it's a big full circle type of thing that, you know, you got to keep moving forward, otherwise you're just going to get complacent. And it's tough, you know, trying to get everybody, you know, what they deserve. That's hard. That's why I don't really want to try to get other people in my company. I'd like to just be, you know, one-man crew. Maybe down the road add like 2 or 3 people, but that's it. Like, I just want like one crew at a time. Like, everybody always works together. Every job. Like, I don't want to have multiple jobs going on at the same time. And that's kind of how big I want it to be. I don't want it to be any bigger than that. I don't feel like it's necessary. I just feel like the bigger it gets, the more messy it gets, and I just don't want to have to deal with all of that mess and be responsible for everybody else's mess. And I can barely even handle my own mess, let alone other people who more than likely aren't going to be up to par with what I'm doing. or at least not necessarily always on the same page. You know, I could hire a painter that's better than I am. It's not likely. I'll more than likely want to hire somebody that I can teach, you know, that I can help get on my level. And that's hard to do, you know. And circling way back, you know, I've got an uncle he's an alcoholic, man. I'm going to be straight up about it. And I didn't want to hire him on because of that. He asked me if he could, you know, work for me, and he'll be my bitch and everything. Like, he's totally giving it up to me, but I appreciate that, but at the same time, like, I kind of don't, actually, because you shouldn't. There's a reason why he's got that perspective. It's because he's so down low, and it's like, dude, you gotta work on yourself, man. Like, I don't want to be around you if you're gonna just, like, not really care that much about yourself. You know, you can do so much better than this, you know. And I think he could learn a lot of stuff from me. I'd love to help him, you know. I feel like there's a lot of things in me that fit perfectly with what he's doing, and I could help him grow, but he just won't see it from that perspective because he's older than I am. He's my uncle. He's always had it the other way around. He's always been trying to teach me, and at this point, no, dude, there's nothing that you can teach me anymore, and actually, you've been a really negative influence on my life, in hindsight. You know, kind of a womanizer, and I kind of took that perspective because I thought it was cool to, like, you know, get bitches or whatever, and, like, I totally dicked around some chicks that I shouldn't have done that. That's not, it's not me, man. That's me trying to impress people like that, you know, my buddies, and that's where it stems from, really. Not him entirely, but you know what I'm saying? Like, and I think a lot of that goes with alcohol, just that sort of same standard cookie cutter mindset. You drink and fucking get money and bitches. Like, that's not my lifestyle at all. And I've seen, there's one guy I did a job for, his wife got home, had a whole bunch of money and stuff, and was like joking about how, like, you know, she was talking to her boss or whatever, and she, like, I don't think she was serious. I think she was just trying to be funny. But she was, like, saying something about how she did something with her boss to get extra money or whatever. And she was just joking. She didn't actually, she just got the bonus anyways. But I saw his reaction to that. He didn't think it was funny at all. But she thought it was really funny. And, like, that's the difference between men and women. Women are social creatures, and men, you know, we work hard for our women. You know, we built this world around for them. We did most of the hard work. There's no denying that. I mean, you can deny, but at the same time, like, over 90% of this world would not be if it weren't for the hard work that men put in for the women. And what we get is humor like that, which isn't really funny, you know, because of all this genuinely hard work that we do, you know. So I get the sarcasm there. I understand it, but it's almost not even worth the sarcasm either, because it's not. That's the exact opposite thing that you would want, is for your hard work to be taken the wrong way, and then you get cheated on or whatever, when you're out there working your absolute life away for this person just for them to do something like that. And that's so common, because when you work unbelievably hard like that, you don't have a whole lot of energy and attention to give to this social creature. When they think that you're inadequate, they don't realize all these things that you've been doing. They very commonly take you for granted. You know, it sucks. It's just the world we live in, man. Like, it fucking sucks, but you gotta let go. You know? It's really that simple. If you don't let go, you're never gonna get over it. You're never gonna grow. And even if you never get over it, you're still never gonna get better. You're still here. There's no point in giving up. You gotta do better, man. Like, you're so much better by letting these things go. And like I was saying before, it's not so much that I would like things to be as they once were. It's more so I want things to be as they could be. You know? Don't try to bend that and try to combine the two. It's, you know, it's one or the other, man. Like, you can't go back to those broken relationships. They're never gonna work. They'll never work. Even if you sit there and act like it doesn't work. You gotta give up on that. You gotta let it go. And it sucks that you have to adapt to that and grow up. And you have to have people who are younger than you tell you to fucking grow up. That hurts. I know how that feels. You know? This is why you can't give up. Because you could be ahead of somebody, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to get ahead of you at a certain point. Because they can see what you're doing and they can learn from it and grow from it. You know? Just because you're ahead of somebody now doesn't mean you're going to always be ahead of them. And when they get ahead of you, it fucking hurts. And so that's pretty much in a nutshell what I'm experiencing right now, is that I gave up on life, and a lot of people gave up on me consequently, but they're not going to realize until it's too late that I'm going to actually overcome them, and then as soon as I do, they're going to get pissed off at me. But really, it's just them having given up on me, and they don't deserve the gift that I've given them, that I would give them for free if they had just seen that in me. But they chose not to, so they don't really deserve it. So am I going to sit here and look past that and give them a chance? No, I'm going to grow past that. I'm going to take that experience, do the best that I can with it, because that's what I'm talking about. There's things back there that genuinely were good learning experiences, and I'm going to hold on to those. But a lot of that is very negative, and I'm not going to form my life around those negative things. I'm just going to take the positives. I'm not going to just like totally, rip them off. I'm going to form my own way. I've always kind of had it that way anyways. I've always kind of had my own way and then learn from what somebody else is doing. And maybe it's not always perfect, and I got to kind of reform it for myself and try to differentiate and rework things and make it work in a new way, and eventually you'll come up with something original, and that works. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I've been going through recently that's all kind of similar things. They're all kind of full circle, I recently said that I'm gonna be stone cold sober, and I'm gonna remain so. Deep down inside, I'm having a hard time accepting that, actually. And I think a lot of other people don't believe it. I think that's part of why I have such a hard time, but it's also, I'm genuinely struggling to maintain my sobriety away from these addictions that I have. I've struggled with them immensely, and it doesn't help that I'm surrounded by other people who just don't even care. Not that they don't care about my health or anything. A lot of them don't, actually, is what I've learned. A lot of people just give up and they just like to drink or smoke or whatever, and that's their way of getting through life, and they don't realize how much they're wasting away and how much better they could be for other people. They're extremely selfish, and they will not change. And that's okay. And they're right. And me trying to change them is actually wrong, is what I've learned. I think not having religion is something that has been kind of making me learn that in sort of a weird way. I think a lot of religious people kind of have that in them, where it's like you're not really supposed to push your religion on other people. Whereas I never really had a religion, so now I'm sort of forming my own ways now and trying to push those on other people because it worked for me. And I'm starting to realize that, okay, that makes sense. That, why more people haven't actually done that so much. People have, and it's annoying, but there's other people that don't really push their ways on me, and at times when it benefits them, they slam me hard with what they know, and it's almost like they harvest me or something. I wish that wasn't a thing. That's so not cool. I'd wish people would be better at pointing these things out and trying to help other people, like genuinely trying to help people and not having their ways get in the way of that. Because that's how I am. I want to see somebody and genuinely help them, not have politics or religion get in the way of it, because if that's in the way, you're always going to go a certain way, and it's not necessarily true. It's almost never true to who you could be. It's not original ever. It's always fake as shit, more often than not. And that's kind of what I'm talking about. So a lot of people will take that and then they'll find an example. I'll forget about this completely and then have to relearn kind of as I go. And, stay in touch with the process. It's like you got to run every day, otherwise you're going to lose your ability. It's like eventually I'm going to forget this stuff. Life doesn't last forever. And so that's why I embrace the now so much. Even if my words don't always come out perfectly, you can see how much I'm in the now. Maybe I'm losing my attention even in this video, and you can see it. And people take those little bits of psychology and use it against me. They don't realize that that's wrong. They shouldn't do that. And they should, not necessarily point it out, but, see that, we're just human beings on this planet, and our lives are so short. So what's the point of tearing people down and ruining your own friendships, your valuable friendships, the things that brought you so much joy and so much love and positivity and growth and all these things. And sometimes you get too close and you start hating people that you once loved, and that sucks. Sometimes it's yourself. It's a tough one to swallow, but here's I'll end it with this. This is kind of going on a little bit longer than I intended. But I'll end it with a quote that I came up with the other day. I feel really proud of this one, actually, because it genuinely truly was an original I just thought of it while I was running. The sooner that you accept defeat, the less that you will be defeated. Think about that.